Okay, this is Aaron again with Exalted Lamb 1, and man, I'm still sick. This is no fun. So I ask your forgiveness if I'm sniffling or coughing or wheezing or dying, anything like that. I just thank you for forgiving me, but I'm trying to get this out to you as soon as possible. I wanted to get out last couple days, really, definitely by yesterday, but I couldn't hardly talk very well. I feel like I'm getting worse. I don't know. It's weird. So anyway, I wanted to bring more evidence of the attack days of 4th of July and the 5th of July. There's a lot here. I just want to bring more stuff, and it's pretty amazing stuff has come to light even since my last video. So if you haven't watched my last video, please watch it first. iPet Goat 2 completely solved America attacked July 4th and 5th. And then even if you're able to watch, there's a two-part thing about the twin birth before that. And I'll give you a good amount of background. And any of my other videos, I always make a point of in my videos to have a lot of information that you may not know, even if you know a lot about these subjects. So it's always good to watch my videos. There's a lot of stuff in them. That's how I've gotten to the subscribers I have, even though, I mean, I would like a lot more, but I haven't made that my focus. I'm just getting the truth out there for the last 11 months, and it's finally come together for me. This is pretty amazing what Jesus has done. In the beginning, I was just flying very blind and just, walking by faith in all these situations, not knowing what's going to happen. And I really feel like I've come full circle to understand what's happening, what's coming, and to the point of 4th of July and 5th of July being the first really attack days. So, and I've explained that in the last video and many other videos, but I'm going to kind of talk about that briefly real quick for those who haven't watched my videos. But again, I recommend you watch the last few, or definitely the one before this for sure. So, you can see my pointer right here. This is Hawaii. This is the island of Hawaii from the water here. It's hidden, of course. A lot of these things, of course, are hidden, of course. This is all symbolism, imagery, things that are put together to convey concepts and ideas, and for sure, a timeline. Again, I want to give complete kudos to Mr. J.K. Bugout, his channel, for being on top of this a couple years ago, starting this whole thing, and really showing me that this is a timeline. And then I've taken my interpretation from there. And so I'll point out things here and there that he has uncovered, like what I'm going to show you right up front, and then I'm adding my understanding over time. And I should say even more than that, Jesus' understanding, because he has given me dreams, visions, different things, understanding that I couldn't have gotten any other way. I give him all the glory. I give God the glory. Without that understanding and guiding and everything and giving me all these things, I would have nothing. And I also thank JK for his immeasurable work. So anyway, right here, that is Hawaii, but this is multi-layered. So this is the Strait of Hormuz, which is the stuff that's starting World War III, and they can use these as excuses. In fact, today is June 30th, 2019, and tomorrow may be some kind of attack day of some kind, or something to really escalate World War III. Maybe the sinking of Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, something like that, because Abraham Lincoln is really in the ethos of this whole thing. His assassination, kind of being a kind of a sort of a type of the Antichrist, in that he was president. Barack Obama was president. He was wounded in the head. Barack Obama, I believe, will be wounded in the head, and he will come back to life at some point. So that's what this is showing. Back in 2017, JK, one of the reasons why I gave this iPet Goat 2 video credence is because JK pointed out several things that just made sense, and they showed things ahead of time before things actually happened. And it's not prophecy or anything like that. They know what's going to happen because they're behind it all. They work, demons work in people, and the people that put this together, they work with other people behind the scenes to work out these things with technology, and their little secret societies or secret clubs and things, and their money and their influence to work out these things ahead of time, and they have a plan already. In fact, I've shown how they know what this end game is like Avengers Endgame. It's kind of not a coincidence called that. They know what this Endgame is. They've been putting all the pieces on the board and moving everything to basically checkmate the world. And God will eventually checkmate the enemy, but the enemy tries to cover up what God's doing, of course. So right here, this is a representation of a few things, but this is definitely initially Hurricane Harvey, as J.K. pointed out. But then it's a oil derrick, so that was Texas. And right here it says RAIN, and that's all the J.K. bug outs find, or maybe one of his subscribers. I'm not totally sure. Probably maybe his. But that was in 2017, Hurricane Harvey, and it was known for rain. And then almost exactly a year later, same month, basically the same days, was Hurricane Lane. Okay, which might still be in here. This could be an upside down L and then Lane. Actually, no, it wouldn't be. But it's really about the water totals and the amount of flooding that happened and how they directly coincide the same time month, basically the same days in 2018. And then of course this is like I said, this would be Texas because you have the oil derrick. This also represents the Strait of Hormuz, which is stuff's going on this year. And then so we have 2017 represented with Hurricane Harvey, 2018 with Hurricane Lane and all this rain, and then this is Hawaii right here, kind of hidden. This island of Hawaii from off the coast. If you're looking at it from off the coast on the water here, and Strait of Hormuz. So we got 2017, 2018, and 2019. And then, as this scene where this oil drips, and I believe they're going to cut off the oil, that's going to be an excuse for World War III and some other things. But in this transition to this scene, it shows basically, and like I've shown, and I'm going to kind of reiterate a little bit of stuff here, but like I've shown, this is showing two different locations. Of course, New York and Hawaii right here. Like again, if you squint your eyes, this looks like an island. If you squint your eyes, it looks like HI. Okay, and one of my subscribers a while back pointed that out, and I could not believe it. It really added to what I was seeing here. And I believe this is showing one day, and in a short time, basically. And then, as JK's pointed out, I can just draw this, but this is a tsunami wave, and it shows them both going to get a tsunami wave. Okay, and it shows it in several places in iPad Go, and I've shown those places. I'm just going to kind of just briefly cover that, but I believe it's in the same day. Technically it's 2 different days, but roughly basically the same exact moment, but 2 different time zones, which cover 2 different days, like I mentioned. Okay, so that's Hawaii, and then this is New York, obviously, the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so moving on here. Like I've mentioned, in this transition, it shows so much. And like in my last video, please watch my last video. This is, of course, Hawaii, and this is Olivia in the oil slick here, in the oil spot here. This represents a hurricane, kind of in a relief-looking thing, spiral kind of thing, whatever. And then this is 9/11, upside down and backwards, basically. And then I mentioned in my last video, this is also 6, 7 backwards, and 1. And this confirms 9/11. And how does that confirm 9/11? It confirms it that September 11th, which this shows, again, 9/11 upside down and backwards right here, 9/11. Then you add you subtract 671 days from September 11th, 2018, and you get November 9th, which is when Trump was technically elected, and that is 9/11 backwards. So it's another support for that. So I just want to reiterate this. Okay, so that's Olivia. That's on the west coast. Off the west coast, but it's Hawaii, on the kind of the west side of the United States. Say it that way. Okay, and then now I'm going to establish the east side of the United States and Florence. So both of these one points to each attack date. One points to July 4th, which is the west side of the United States. The other one points to July 5th, which is the east side of the United States. Okay, so that's why there's several reasons why there's 2 different time zones represented and 2 different days, but the same moment. They're going to coordinate these attacks at basically the same moment for a number of reasons. I mean, if you're going to attack the United States, you're going to coordinate the attack at the same time. I mean, that makes sense. If you're going to take down the United States, you're going to coordinate the attack. I mean, but I see in several things in iPad Goat that it shows that this is basically the same day. Technically not the same day, 2 different days, but the same time, I should say, same moment. Okay, so the same time these are going to be, both attacks will be carried out. Okay, and that's what it shows in here. Okay, so I showed you that. And then, of course, like I've said before, so this just a little bit of kind of setting it up a little bit before I share this other stuff. Again, this is Hawaii right here, and in this transition frame to the other scene, you see this iceberg kind of thing in the other scene is really an explosion coming off the island of Hawaii right here. This is the island of Hawaii again. There's an explosion, fire, smoke, all this ash and stuff coming off. If you can see that, and this says right here 6, 2, 3, and like I've said many times, okay, and that happens right after basically 9 months and 23 days later, okay, after 9/11/2018. I've talked about that in my video. Okay, so I want to break this down a little bit more. I've explained this, and I want to actually describe why this is the United States. This is the East Coast side, and over here is the West Coast side, and then this is water here. You see water here. Okay, so this is the Atlantic basically. Over here is the Pacific. It's way over here. And then so Hawaii is way over here off the west coast, kind of, which you really can't see here, and then these are the hurricanes that affected Hawaii, and this is the first one, and why it represents a phallic symbol, and that was Hector, which means restrainer, and the restrainer caused these things to spew out, and it's all imagery and everything. It's all symbolism. Of course, you had Lane, Norman, and Olivia, and I showed Olivia right here was the last one, and then 9 months and 23 days later, on the Gregorian, is this attack. It's going to happen with Kilauea exploding, like I showed you in that imagery. Okay, so this is really key here. And so how do I prove that this is the East Coast and that's West Coast over? This is Hawaii, and then ultimately right here on the East Coast, the one hurricane that basically has shown again, this is conception and birth we're talking about. My previous two videos talk about conception and birth, and how God showed it in the Revelation 12 sign when Jupiter entered Virgo and then exited. It entered on conception technically, and then birth later. Okay, 9 months and 23 prophetic months, or in the prophetic year calendar, in a sense, in God's terms. And then the enemy used the Gregorian 9 months and 23 days to show his conception and birth. Okay, so we got a lot going on here, and I've shared a lot of different imagery in here. But we're going to focus on kind of establishing Hurricane Florence as being the conception, and this is the sun god basically giving his blessing and the conception starting. And I'm going to show you there's actually a date right here, and then 9 months and 23 days later is July 5th, so it's July 5th on the East Coast, July 4th on the West Coast is when these attacks happen. Okay, so again, there's a close-up. You have, this is Hector, which means restrainer, and when the restrainer is taken out of the way, like it says in the Bible, then the lawless one is revealed. So that's why this is it begins in a sense, they use this as beginning of conception, but it also begins a birth of the Antichrist. It also begins a birth of course, the restrainer is taken away, which I believe, what I've shown in the Word, is the restrainer is the bride of Christ that's holding back the evil from completely overtaking the world. The bride of Christ will be taken up. Those are the faithful believers, and there will be a birth into heaven, going from corruptible to incorruptible. And at the same time, then after the restrainer is taken away, the bride of Christ, then the Antichrist, the lawless one, will be revealed. Okay, so we have this example on the East Coast. I'm going to show you this. Now we have, go to the next slide. So this is, remember, this is the conception. I'm saying this is Florence right here. So how do we link this to Florence? Well, Florence was off the coast off the East Coast here. I showed in my last video 9/11 was when it's got its biggest strength, but when they show it, basically just starting to hit land slightly was 9/12, and I'm going to show you right here. This says 9/12 right here, but let's put it sideways and kind of blow it up a little bit. Right here is 9/12, so I'm going to draw it out here. 9/12. It's pretty obvious, but 9/12. Okay, it's right there in front of your face, but it's kind of hidden, and like these things are, it's imagery that's hidden in plain sight. That's 9/12. Okay, it's right there. So I'm gonna go back and anyway, I could take it. Anyway, you saw it before and after. You can go back and look at it before I drew on it, and then see for yourself. But that is 9/12. Okay, so if you take 9/12, so that's where it was. Remember, basically at 9/12. And that the reason why they're focusing on this as being the conception is because, and then 9 months and 23 days later from September 12th, is because the tsunamis begin. And so right here off the East Coast is where all the waves start. And tsunamis are synonymous, of course, they're big waves. So it's causing big waves first, and then a couple days later it hits land, and that's synonymous with the birth of the Antichrist completely, and that's when nuclear will probably happen. Again, I'm speculating about a lot, pretty much all this stuff, but I'm going to talk right now like I think it's going to happen because I feel like all of the stuff that I've been asking for 11 months has come together, but I'm still speculating. I'm not prophesying any of this stuff. I did do a video you can watch called "What is Coming and When." Definitely recommend watching that, where I'm going to prophesy. I'm going to step in the office of a prophet. God's told me to do this. Jesus has told me to do this. And in this video, what's coming and when, several videos ago now, you can go back to my channel, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's coming. For example, 3 raptures, tell you that definitively from God, dreams, visions, evidence that I have over 300 examples. I'm probably on like 320 some, that Barack Obama is the Antichrist and nobody comes close, that the Pope is the false prophet. There's just so many things I talk about, and I basically say that that's what the Lord says, and I'm speaking for him in the office of a prophet. Now, I'm not saying that generally because in this situation, one, because I will never be taken seriously, and so I never say that. Never say this is definitely going to happen at this time frame. Two, the Lord has made it clear to me that most people won't accept the idea that someone will know when the day happens. So I wouldn't say that anyway. And I do believe that most scriptures that, well, just are few that Christians even quote about that no one knows the day or hour, and no man knows the day or hour, and all that kind of stuff, they're completely misunderstood. And I could lay it all out in the Word, but the Lord tells me not to. And I don't get into a lot of things in the Word. I do mention different things because the Lord doesn't want arguments and a lot of separation and stuff. He wants me to focus on what's going to happen and the examples and things, and warning people of what's coming, not getting into Bible theology so much and a lot of divisions, because people end up arguing. Anytime I even mention little things here and there, like, of course, there's going to be 3 raptures. One rapture is going to be the first one when the tsunamis happen, which is going to kill millions of people. The children are going to be taken first. Okay, the innocents. That's all over the Old Testament and New Testament. Check out my brother Tim Foster 405. He just put out a video today, June 30th, and he kind of starts. He lays out just some of the scriptures that show in the Old Testament, like in Hosea and stuff, how Jesus is a lion. He rips away the young from the people before these disasters start happening, and God saves the innocent first. The next rapture I believe is a couple days later when the nukes come down, and many Christians have had dreams about when the nukes go down, we go up, and that's supported in my evidence that I show about 2 days later after the tsunamis, and also supported by the 8-year-old Swedish boy's dream, and other things that I've been shown and told and seen, and there's too much stuff to cover, and so much stuff to cover in this. I can't cover everything. I can't cover most things, and I can't cover a lot of different subjects that I would like to cover. For example, I have thousands of hours of Planet X and why Planet X is coming. The whole system, the Planet X system, is coming, and that is the dragon revealed in the sky. That is an example of Barack Obama being Lucifer incarnate as the Antichrist, and that's an example on the earth. But in the sky, the dragon that comes as a sign is Planet X and the following planets, which is really, Planet X is really a second sun. We're in a binary star system. Anyway, I'm not getting into all that right now, but I have so much evidence on that. The evidence is overwhelming, and I've seen dreams. My daughter's seen dreams. My wife. I mean, literally stuff that we couldn't have known, and we knew way before we even knew that we knew anything. I mean, and we're like, what the heck is that? What's that big red planet in the sky that's like 50 times the size of the moon in my dream? Oh, it's Planet X. Look it up. And then it's crazy. So this is where Florence was at that time in 912. Okay, now I'm going to show you here. So this is this side of this figure. And again, this figure, we'll go back here. This figure is lying down. So this is half woman Well, you see the butt right here, and the woman is lying, this half woman, and this is of course half male. Of course, you know, the male thing right there. So that symbolizes the conception. I mean, you know, use your imagination, of course, or don't use too much imagination. But anyway, so that is the conception. So it's male and female. But then, of course, this is example of Florida. See that little divot right there? That's Lake Okeechobee, right there in Florida, right there. See that? That's Florida, basically. Okay, it's just an example, a distorted view, because you know most people aren't gonna look at this imagery right here and go, oh yeah, that's Florida. You have to kind of look at it in depth, look at all the other information. It's designed this way to hide things in plain sight, and that's what they believe, and they do that all over on TV, movies, everything, commercials, everything. And that's Florida. Okay, so I've kind of circled this area because this is really important to go with this 912 that's right here that I showed you. And it right after is 912, and then you add this. There's two things here. There's 1, 2, and 3 right in here that get you to the actual dates. It is crazy. It's all right here. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me show you. So this, what I've highlighted or what I've circled right here, it's up and down. So it can actually be turned down on the left, or it can be turned down on the right. Okay, so I'm going to turn it down to the right. I'm going to kind of just turn it to the right. Okay, now look what happens when I turn it to the right. Now immediately you see this. Now it's backwards. So this is backwards, but this is forwards. 2, if you can see this, 2. I don't know how it shows up on your screen, whatever screen. It's not super sharp, but this is a 2 right here. And this out on the end here is a 3. This is a 3. So this is a 2. And it's made up of little pieces of ice that are supposedly floating on the water. And it's 2 right here, and this is 3 right here. Okay, and then this is a slash, but it's backwards. So it's hard for me to, you know, turn this backwards because there's things in the way. But I did this with, this is a 9 backwards. So let me show you what 9 forwards looks like. There's a 9 forward. You can kind of see that's a 9. Again, it's not going to be super obvious. They make it somewhat hidden. But this slash, just think this slash is actually backwards. It's supposed to go this direction. Okay, but it's 9/2, 3. Okay, hopefully you see that. And then if you take this, that right here, and then you turn it to the left, but then it's backwards completely, but I'm just going to show you with this example, this way. It's also 6/2, 3. So what we have here, I'll get to that in a second. But basically, like I said, we have September 12th, which is on the phallic symbol. I showed you that. And then you add 9 months and 23 days, and that gets you to July 5th. And again, we're on the East Coast. This represents the East Coast, okay? So we have basically the west side of the United States, which is where Hawaii is and all that kind of stuff. I mean, in the Pacific, of course, but kind of the western side of the United States, which includes Hawaii, is July 4th. And then on this side, we're representing Florence, which means flowering, for the Antichrist to basically flower, to open, is the East Coast. So right here, this represents the northeast right here. And I'm going to show you. See this toe right here that's sticking up off this leg? Well, let me show you some more evidence that this is actually part of the East Coast. Look at the top of the East Coast. We have Maine, and then we have New Brunswick. Look at that big toe. There's the big toe, and look at good, and right there they show it sticking up. They're like, okay, this is the big toe right here. Okay, I'm showing this. I'm proving this to you. Okay, whether you can see it or not, I can't help you. But that's what is there. That's what this is. And look, this got a gnarly toenail right there. Look at that. Anyway, but this is the northeast. Okay, here we go. And then what is this showing right here? So again, it's 9 right here, 12. And then we have down here 9/2, 3. But these all converge to this right here, this point right here, which is the 3. Now on the East Coast, what I mentioned, 6/2, 3, is on my last video, July 4th and 5th is really on the Chinese lunar calendar is the 6th month, the 2nd and 3rd day. So the 2nd day is July 4th on the Chinese lunar calendar of the 6th month, and then the 3rd day is July 5th on the Gregorian. And there's the 3 right there. And this just so happens to be right where the female area is, where the birth would happen. Right on the 3 on the East Coast. That's what this is showing. Okay, this is the birth, this is the conception up here, using, you know, ridiculous stuff. You got white splotches here. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then this is the birth right here, okay? On the 3 on the East Coast, which again on Chinese lunar calendar is the 3rd day of the 6th month, is July 5th on the Gregorian, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, and like I mentioned here, this is Olivia. And again, this is Olivia right here. This is showing off Hawaii. And then, like I said, it was 9/11. You add 9/23, 9 months, 23 days to that, and you get July 4th. Okay, I've established that. Okay, I'm just going over again to confirm. And then, so again, we have, this is the yellow is the Gregorian, and this converts it to the Chinese lunar calendar, the white areas. So you start out with July, right here, July 4th and 5th. So again, 4th is west coast, roughly, west side, basically. 5th is east coast, and that equates to, this is within the 6th month right here, 6th lunar calendar month of Chinese lunar calendar, 2nd and 3rd day. So 4th and 5th equal the 2nd and 3rd. So that's, again, 6, 2, 3. In my last video, I talk about, several videos actually, talk about 6, 2, 3 being the birth. And like I said before, several times, I had a dream where Jesus came to me. It was very super short. He walked up to me and whispered in my ear, 923 is 623. So 923 represents the conception, the conception to birth, the whole pregnancy. 923, and again, it's in the Revelation 12 sign when Jupiter entered Virgo and when it exited. That total amount is 293 days, and you break that down to 9 months and 23 prophetic days. 9 prophetic months and 23 prophetic days. And then the enemies used it, that same 923, for his own purposes, and he's made it 9 Gregorian months and 23 Gregorian days. So I'm showing you, I'm establishing this 912, again, 912, then you add 9 months and 23 Gregorian days, okay, and that gets you just the 6th month of the Chinese lunar calendar and the 2nd and 3rd day of the 6th month of Chinese lunar calendar, which is the 4th and 5th of July. Okay? Hopefully you see that. And I've established those numbers in this. Okay? There's some other things. Now, look where this phallic symbol is. What is it trying to show you as far as the location? Location in real estate. Anyway, location. What is it pointing to? The location. Well, if you think about the East Coast, starting from Florida all the way up to Italy, Maine, and all this stuff right here, it's kind of in the middle a little bit. Okay, this is actually pointing to the location. But so let me show you this. I got some more incredible stuff to show you, and I've actually shared some of this, but I have a precise location where this is actually referring to, and it's in the video. It's crazy. Okay, so what location is this? Well, I'm going to show you. Okay, so this video keeps going. It zooms into the phallic symbol there, and then you see, of course, this stuff. You know what this thing is, and this white stuff all over. It's kind of ridiculous. And this whole thing is sick. I hate this video, but I'm thankful the Lord's working in me to expose this evil that they're doing with the symbols and eventually show the date. Listen, I'm not into sharing dates. Okay. I never was. I never was into eschatology. I was never into end time stuff. Until the Lord smacked me across the face lovingly and said, you got to look at this and warn people. And then I obeyed him. Sorry, sucking on a cough drop. Because I need it for my throat. I obeyed him. I didn't go, Lord, heck with you, like a lot of people, especially a lot of American Christians do, and I'm going to do my own thing. And I know better than you because you really don't care about me, and I'm not, or maybe I'm not good enough, so I don't really, or whatever, or I'm better than you. I mean, whatever people's excuses are in their heart for not following Jesus, I've gotten past those, thankfully. He's healed my heart. He's changed my life. He's healed me. He's redeemed me. He's taken me from death so many ways I can't even say. I mean, literally, it'd be a long video. Anyway, so this is... Now there's something right in here. Now I'm going to show you. This is the old woman that's in the actual phallic symbol here. Now you notice the red light is on. Okay, if you know that whole thing. Roxanne, you don't have to turn on the red light. Anyway, and that is a prostitute or a whore basically turning on the red light to let men know that they're available, right? That comes from, long time ago. Anyway, and that's what this is. This is a whore right here. Okay, it's a very old one. Okay, and she's in prison. There's so much here. I can't get into everything and what she represents, but I'm going to touch on the main thing she represents, what the Lord has revealed to me. So again, she's a whore because look on her shoe. It says XXX. Okay, that's a synonymous with that. Anybody knows what XXX is? Synonymous with that. And United States, as a whole, has sent its perversion all over the world in many forms. It's undebatable. If you don't know that, if you're a Christian out there that's watching this, you think the United States is the greatest thing since sliced bread, or you think the United States is the great savior of the world, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. That is silly, okay? God will destroy Mystery Babylon, which United States is, and I'm going to show you what he's shown me. Okay, look at this. This is the whore of Babylon. Okay? This is the United States. Lord showed me when Barack Obama was elected that he was, this was many years ago. You know when Barack Obama was elected, what year was that? Top of my head, 2008, 2009, whatever, technically 2008 was when he was elected. Anyway, he showed me, he said that, and I wasn't even looking for it. I was surprised. When the Lord really told me Barack Obama was the Antichrist, I'm like, what? You know how many people have had dreams that never knew who Barack Obama really was? Believer, non-believer, had dreams that he was the Antichrist. It is hundreds of people that I know of. I've seen lots of videos of it. And they were stunned by what God was showing them, or what God was showing them, even though they're not a believer. Anyway, this is the whore of Babylon. I'm going to show you how this relates to this face. It's crazy. So right where her mouth is, right above it, is this right here. And that is the dot. This is Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. technically is the capital of the United States. Okay, so it's the center of the whore of Babylon. Okay, it is the center of Mystery Babylon, which contains the whore of Babylon, and that's what they're showing. This thing, as I'm showing, okay, as I'm showing to you with evidence, this is the whore of Babylon. So look down here. These are rivers right here. 1, 2, 3, and we got 1, 2, 3 right here, and then the chin ends right here, and then look at this big old mole right here. There it is. A big old hook nose right here. The beat up. This looks like an eye right here. If you actually blow this up, look at Google Earth. Google Earth, Washington, D.C. Look, this looks like an eye. It looks like a battered eye right here. It's all battered looking. Well, there's a battered eye right there. And then this kind of shows the hair down in the landscape. It's crazy. This is all crazy. This is what the Lord made very clear. And I want to thank also S. See, Bond had Q and I have S. So I want to thank for S, all your help. You've been amazing. I just thank you so much for all your help and different things. And you are a brain. You are a wonderful believer. I appreciate you, S. So I want to give you massive kudos for all your help and all my subscribers and anybody who's contributed to this understanding. I thank you so much. Number one, of course, God and the Lord Jesus Christ. I just cannot. I would never get anywhere in any of this understanding without all the codes and all the keys that you've given me. And it's all been you that wanted me to do all this, and you've done it all, and I'm just a willing participant. Sometimes not so willing, kicking and screaming, but eventually you bring me back around to do this, and so I am so thankful. So thank you, S, and everyone else. If I don't hit everybody, I apologize. Please forgive me. I'm not a perfect person. So that's her mouth. There's her chin. There's the mole. It fits. And then there is the big red dot that shows that is Washington, D.C. on this whole map. It's right there. Boom. There you go. You now know who the whore of Babylon is and who Mystery Babylon is, shown in front of your face. Okay, the evidence is there. It is clear. Okay, they make it very clear. And the whore will be destroyed. It will, and it's about to be. Okay, there it is, another perspective there. As you can kind of see more of the hair. Of course, like I said, her hair is up here, so it may not look as clear, but this came across very, very nicely. There's also, this is crazy. There's New York. And this is the top of her head. And then where this mole is the bottom of her head, that goes all the way down here to past Virginia here. It's crazy. Okay? This is the whole East Coast. And it is very evil. Most of the East Coast is very, in the spirit of it, and the spirit of Washington, D.C. is very evil. By the way, D.C. is District of Columbia, if you didn't know. Well, I know you know that, but Columbia is a goddess. Goddess Columbia. It is insane. Okay? I mean, really, we have all these gods and goddesses that are basically all over our government, and it's a mystery that this stuff exists. No, it's not. And like I showed in my last video, check out my last video if you haven't. I show how, the stuff in the Washington Mall and stuff is coming. It's playing out to the 4th and 5th of July as they attack the United States, the fall of Babylon. Okay, so here, I've shared some of this in my previous videos as well. You gotta go back a little bit, but I'm gonna kind of hit on a couple things because a lot of you haven't seen this and don't know this. And since I'm talking about her, right here in her eye, from where she's at, she's in Washington D.C. because that's where that red spot is. But she sees New York from her tower, and this is the scene. Okay, this light in the video, the light kind of goes like that, and it's a missile coming in, and she can see it from here, and she can see this is actually the scene of New York, and it's actually upside down, and I'll show you. So right here, this is New York, and this is this other little island thing that I showed you before. But right here, that's New York. This is Statue of Liberty Island thing right here, and it's covered up by the bar that's in her way because she's behind bars, and so otherwise you could see this whole Statue of Liberty thing, but it's covered up on purpose. And this thing kind of sort of represents that, but a little bit more lit up, shown right here. But she can see it from where she's at. And then when the missile comes in, it blows and it knocks her back. Anyway, she's here, she's Washington, D.C., and she looks at New York, which encompasses her whole face, her whole head right here. This is the top of her head. This is her crown, basically. And she sees this happening. Okay, and then she's blown back, ultimately, against the wall. And also, not only does she see New York, and in the beginning of iPad Goat, the goat that's there, and I've shown in his eye, he sees New York as well, and I've shown that as well. That's in his eye. Also, in this scene, there's the death figure blowing the party favor, and this J.K. Plug-Out pointed this out, and this is the Korean girl or whatever the girl is, this Asian girl or whatever, and she's carrying the white flag, and then the tanks are coming. And that's all in the scene. It's all about the same time, and there are different locations, and all this stuff's happening at the same time. That's what I believe they're showing. And then the spot here and all this. It's about the fake birth and all this kind of stuff. Okay, but look over her left shoulder. There's this thing right here, and again, this supports what I've said many times. Another support of a little after 3 a.m. hidden in the white stuff splat on the wall. You know what that is. And then this is a clock right here, a little bit after. It's not quite exactly that way. It's a little bit after. It's 3 a.m. right here. Of course, this is the East Coast. We're talking about a little after 3 a.m. on the East Coast. It's crazy. And then over to the left over here, which it doesn't show it right here, but in other scenes where there's the broken oil derrick that J.K. has pointed out, it shows this basically right here, which is H and then space H, which is Hurricane Harvey. And that proves that it's showing Harvey, and then below that it says Irma. It's crazy. So these things are not here haphazardly. Everything in here is here for a reason, to either hide something else or to show something, other hidden messages. It is really, demonic. This whole thing is demonic, and it only can be done by demons who have higher intelligences than humans. Okay, and in her eye, because again she's on the East Coast, are two. Look, they're kind of shark-looking / submarine-looking things. See the submarine thing? Kind of submarine / shark-looking things. And they're on the East Coast. There's two of them, and there's in her eye what she actually sees because she saw the explosion. Okay? And why is that important? Well, look at the apple. Like I've said, the two halves of the apple have to do with two tsunamis. Now, this right here is a tsunami. That's another reason why I know it's a tsunami. This is a wave. This is also a C, and it's a 3, and all kinds of stuff. But this is the West Coast because it just takes one sub. And this is a submarine right here. Oh, Barack Obama's foot is the tip of the submarine. And this is the base of the, and this is the top that kind of sticks out of the water when the whole submarine's in the water. That's why it's all black. And you got this tip here. I mean, these are multifaceted. This is actually, and this is a royal wedding upside down with a heart upside down. This is so many things. And then from this submarine being underwater, it shoots up a missile right here. And then on this East Coast, the old lady sees two submarines or two sharks in the water, and then one of them shoots this for this tsunami, and they're both getting ready. They're both going to shoot them off 2 days later for the nuclear attack on the East Coast, okay, and this one on the West Coast, okay, and they're both converging at the same time. These are converged to make this flower that is the nuclear explosion that represents nuclear attack. Okay, but this is a submarine right here, and it's underwater, and it's showing that. I'm actually marking the screen here. Okay, all right. There's so much in here. I mean, this is also a chess move. I mean, there's so much. I haven't covered a lot of the stuff that I see this. It's also LC. It's 12. I'm sorry. It's really a 7 ultimately, and then this is an 8. Like I covered in my last. Watch my last video if you haven't seen it. It shows you the apple rolling. The apple hits his foot on the 8th day, and then eventually opens up on the 11th day. Look, 11. The 8th day is tomorrow. That's really why I'm putting this out right now, and I have to. No, I feel horrible. My throat's messed up. Sorry to cough there again. Well, I actually haven't coughed yet. So this is why July 1st is when this apple hits, I believe. So something may serious happen on July 1st relating to Obama, but more likely relating to ultimately his birth, which begins World War III, which is really some kind of probably something that escalates World War III. It could possibly be the sinking of Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier. It could be a lot of things are on my mind. There could be several possible events, but I'm thinking something's going to major happen that really kicks off the process of World War III on July 1st, which is tomorrow. This is June 30th today. Okay, so anyway, and I've mentioned before in my other videos, even my last, not my last video, but videos before, again, this is also showing a little bit after 3 on the East Coast, and this is really saying, a lot of people point out to me, oh, hey, it's Psalm 23, that's what it's saying. Well, I already know that. That's the obvious thing. But the unobvious is O, B, A, M, and then we have 3, a little after 3 right here. And right here, I kind of covered it up because I'm going to accentuate this 3. But it's an A right here. It's Obama with the 3 in the middle. And this is lightning falling from heaven. And this is 6, 2, 3. And again, that is on Chinese lunar calendar, 6 month, 2nd and 3rd day, which covers both East and West Coast. 2nd day in the Chinese lunar calendar is July 4th. 3rd day in the Chinese lunar calendar is July 5th. Bam. It's right there. It's right in front of your face, hidden in plain sight. If you watch this, if you've seen this video. There's also many things in here. It shows in here, it says Donald, as J.K. bug out pointed out, there's a D right here. O-N-A-L-D. Donald Trump's in here way before he ever became president. He's in here, and J.K. bug out pointed that out. Also, it says the day that we got out of the Iran nuclear deal, that Trump got out of it, really, that's in here. I mean, there's so much in here. There's so much false flag information in here. It's probably over 40 events. And that's what gives this whole video credibility, besides being just a cartoon. It's not just a cartoon that has sick imagery in it. It's far more than that, unfortunately. But in a sense, it is fortunate because the Lord has used it to show us, people that have been interpreting this thing, to show the enemy's playbook. And I think for some reason the enemy has to show his moves secretly according to God's laws somehow before people are destroyed. So I'm going to show you some more information. Of course, last video, it was mind-blowing when I figured this stuff out, but it says 623 all over the place. I showed you that in this, which is the flower. This is the birth. And this is more of the birth here. And this is crazy what I found here. There's faces in here. Excuse me. Okay, now I'm going to show you this. This is what I found. Now, as far as interpreting this, I think I have it somewhat down, but I don't know. I'm open for interpretation on some of this stuff that I'm going to show you. But I ultimately know what it is. Okay, now as far as the exact details, I don't know. Okay, but like I've said, all over here in both these explosions is 623 backwards, forwards, upside down, and I showed it in my last video. It is crazy. That's what this really is. That's what the numbers are in here. There's 623. I mean, also in relation 923 as well. But right here. Now let me show you what's right in here. This will blow your mind. Now I'm going to talk about ultraviolet first. Ultraviolet. Purple is sometimes associated with spirituality. This is because purple or violet is at the top of the color spectrum. Of the colors in the visible spectrum, it is the one that vibrates at the highest frequency. Some people believe that when we become more spiritual, we too raise the rate at which we vibrate. Wow, I'm tired. Purple or violet is associated with the 7th chakra located at the crown of the head. This is the chakra of connection to spirit. Okay, now I'm not talking about, there's some truth in some of this stuff. So when I'm talking about chakras and all that stuff, but this is, the enemy's whole thing, okay? I'm just revealing what they believe, okay? And that's why ultraviolet is associated to Barack Obama. It has to do with light, and he's going to incarnate the light bearer, so-called Lucifer, which means light bearer, okay? And so I want to associate that all these things I've shown in media and stuff, and I'm going to show you later here in the last part of this video. Barack Obama is associated to ultraviolet so many times, and violet and purple. Purple's royalty, and in the past, the only ones who, way in medieval times and everything, the only ones who could actually even wear purple, royalty, because it costs so much to harvest the color purple from animals and different things. I think it was a mollusk or something, to get the color purple, and it costs so much to get that, to make that dye. And only ultraviolet, only ultra rich could actually get that purple. Okay, so it's multifaceted with what this means. Okay, so in this ultraviolet second exposure, the smaller one, it shows more information. I'm going to show you that. Now look at, can you see anything in here? It's hard to see it, but there's half of a female face and there's half of a demonic face. Okay, but you can't see it as much here, so I'm going to blow it up and then add some contrast. And you're free to do this yourself. Go to it, blow it up, contrast it. You know, and if you ever make a video something more about it, if you find more details, please send it to me, put it on my comments, whatever. Please do that, whatever. But I found it. It is crazy. So check this out. So can you see this? Now, before I do the contrast, you can see there is a woman's, looks like a black woman's face right here. That's my best guess. It looks right here, like a half of a black woman. Then right here, and I'm going to show you that after I do the contrast, but this looks like some kind of evil skeleton looking, he's like got a pain, he's got like a skeleton nose, he's got a pain look on his face, and he looks like a skeleton, evil looking spirit thing. And they're sharing half a head right here. Okay, now I'm going to show you, it's a little bit more clear with the contrast. Okay, look at this. This is not just chance. It's not. Now you can look at clouds and you can look at the carpet and you can see faces and you can look at the, the ceiling that has all this texturing on it or whatever, and you can see all kinds of images. But this is more precise. This is a clear, precise face. So is this a clear, precise face. This is designed. This whole thing is designed. This is not a chance. And I'm going to show you several faces that morph out of this. It's crazy. So this is this looked to me like a black woman's face, a good-looking black woman here. Anyway. I'm just saying that's just what it looks like to me. And then right here is a demonic. It looks, you get a cheekbone. It looks like I would call it death because it looks like a skull. Let's call it the spirit of death. And of course, the Antichrist would indwell the spirit of death, and that ultimately is Lucifer. Okay, the ultimate spirit of death is Lucifer because he's been credited in the Bible as being the cause of death. Okay, and then look at this half of a. And the reason why I think he's got the spirit of death. And I think he's got female spirits because it's Barack Obama. And the Antichrist is said to not have affinity for women, but is effeminate in a sense. And also, his wife is not a woman. So anyway. So, moving on. Again, so this is the next form. Now, again, you have this woman's face, but it morphs into more of an alien-looking face. It's got a wider brow here. It looks like the face gets more distorted, the mouth gets more distorted, the nose more. It looks like an alien, and again, that's half the face. The other half right here, the other thing is kind of what in the background a little bit, the death thing. Then right here is actually it looks like a black man's face, and he looks very calm right here. It's just really crazy, and it's hard to see on this slide, but I'm going to do the contrast. So if you hopefully maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But this starts getting more distorted. And it looks now like it's converted to an alien-looking face. And then right here is the nostril, upper lip, bottom lip, and then the kind of the shading of where the eye would be. And it's right in here. It's really crazy. You can almost see the other eye right here too, and they share the same eye. It's crazy. It's right here. Trust me, I am a graphic designer. I know artwork. I've hidden things actually in imagery too. And this is here on purpose. Okay, and let me show you more. This even morphs into, you can kind of see the beginnings of a face right here. What's it morphing into right here? Again, this is an explosion. This is a ultraviolet colored explosion. Ultraviolet associated with Obama so many times, and I'll show you that. But look, okay, do you see this face here yet? Right here, so there's a nose, a mouth, a big chin. Okay, and then there's kind of a messed up head right here. Okay, I'm going to show you so here's the contrast. Okay, what this is this is Abraham Lincoln. And this is a profile like what's on a penny. It's right here. It's right here. Nose, mouth, chin, beards right here, everything. The head, and then there's something funky going on with his head. Okay, and it has to do with, I think, two things. There's information right here, but there's also, it's a head wound. Okay, there's a head wound going on right here. And as we've seen, people are going to be gathered at the Lincoln Memorial on July 4th. That's not a coincidence. And then we have the Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier in the Middle East right now. Why do they pick Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier as the main one? Why not something else? Why not this one? Why not that one? It's all for symbolism, because Abraham Lincoln had head wounds. And I'm showing you this right now. Now look, so you can kind of reference it a little bit. That's kind of how it looks, even though I couldn't find the exact representation. Even though this guy's got a little bit bigger nose and everything, a lot bigger nose. But you get the idea. It's right there. And that morphs from those several faces, and then it goes to an Abraham Lincoln face. And then there's information right here, and I'm going to show you that. This is absolutely nuts, what's right here. There's so much right here. Okay, but here, let's go to it. It's right here. There's information right here. And I'm going to show you. In here is actually July 4th and 5th. It is crazy. Okay, so let's do this half screen again, so you can look at one side and I can draw on the other one, so I don't cover it up completely and you can't quite see. But this is right here is J upside down. Oh, I'm not going to trace it out great. That's J. This is a U, kind of weird, distorted a little bit. And then this is an L upside down. And then in this L is a Y. It's kind of built in. Okay, that's kind of upside down and going around is July. And then, as you can see, this is the L upside down and the Y make a 5, a clear 5. 5 right here. Anyway, it's got the little thing right there. Anyway, it's a 5. It's crazy. Okay? It's nuts. And then over here, this is a 4 upside down as well. Anyway, it's right here. So you have upside down kind of in a circle, July 4th and 5th. It's right here. It is mind-blowing. So just imagine this. So if you look this upside down, I didn't want to show it at all angles, but upside down J, and then look from the kind of at an angle is U, and then upside down. So if you kind of follow it around in a circle, it's July, and then the L upside down and the Y, because 5 doesn't have a little tail on it right here and over here. It's a Y upside down. You look at this right here. You see this Y upside down? It's right here, and then with this L kind of touching it, it's a 5, and it's crazy. And this is a 4. This actually says 4th to TH over here. And I can get everything, but it's right there. Okay, I'm just showing you. It's hard to show you every single little thing. It takes a while to do all this. Just all this and the contrast and all this, it took a while, and I just don't have the time. I just don't. So you can look at it yourself if you want, or you just go back and look at this again. It's crazy. Now I want to show you this. I'm about to wrap up because I don't feel great, and I'm not going to make this super long. Okay, are you kidding me? So let me tell you something. If you didn't realize that the Black Panther, first of all, Barack Obama was born in the 60s, and he represents the Black Panther. Okay, who's a Black Panther? Malcolm X. Some people think he's some kind of thing of Malcolm X. I mean, the Black Panthers at that time were, creating social upheaval and different stuff. They believe in violence and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, the Black Panther is a phrase that is not a positive thing in our history. Okay, but he's made it positive, and that could be good. Okay, that could still be good in a way. But in this case, it's not, because you see the ultraviolet again on one half. Remember the half face thing I just showed you that was in the ultraviolet? That's kind of weird that you'd have, again, 2 half faces shown right here. The ultraviolet, where it gets its power from, and then gold as another example of royalty. And if you know about the Marvel Universe, you know about Avengers and all that, you know that the Black Panther was the king of a hidden realm. Okay, Barack Obama is the king of the deep state in a sense, or I don't really like that term, but a hidden realm in government that he's the king of, and he will be eventually rolled out to be the king of the world in a sense. Okay, and it just so happens to be a black man. Of course, it's a Black Panther, but it's a black man, and Barack Obama is, even though he's not, Barack Obama isn't really a black man. Okay, that's the narrative they show. His mother's supposed to be white, and his father's supposed to be black, but he's not. He's an Assyrian. He's mostly DNA, like I've mentioned and showed in my last few videos, of Akhenaten, and Akhenaten was an Assyrian. Okay, and he happens to look black and white. He doesn't look quite black. He doesn't look quite white. That's how they looked in that area. Okay, the Middle Eastern looked more like that, Assyrian. Okay, they didn't look pure black like in Africa. Okay, but he likes to use a symbolism. The demons like to use symbolism of a black man and different things. Also, many white people are symbols of the Antichrist as well in different ways, because they have different features and different characteristics that accentuate Barack Obama in media, and it's the Antichrist basically. Okay, so this is one example. And then, by the way, this just so happens to say 6 or 9, okay? And this is 3 and this is a 2. So basically scrambled up a little bit with the slash right here. It's 623 or 923. It's right here. It's right in front of your face. It's really crazy. This is a 3. This is a 2 right here. You know, if you turn this over to the left, kind of, and this is a 3. It's actually backwards if you turn to the left, but if it turns to right, it's actually correct 3. And this is a slash, and this is a 6 or a 9. It's right here. It's right here. So you basically have the conception and birth. You have 923 and 623 over here, which makes his birth. And this is a new birth of the Black Panther, supposedly. And he's got a horn right here. See, look, he's got a horn right here. He's got a horn right here and a horn right here. He's the dragon. I mean, it's if you don't see this, I can't help you. It's here, whether you believe it or not, and you will see it. Whether you're a believer and you know you're in heaven and you're following Jesus, or most people will be left here and go through tribulation, you'll see it eventually. Barack Obama will come back to life probably from some kind of head wound or something, and you'll see he'll be the Antichrist. You'll see. All right, not take my word for it. You'll just see, and the time's almost here. Okay, and as I've shown in my videos, Obama is Mr. Purple, and he's also ultraviolet. Look at his ultraviolet tie. In fact, this is what a reporter said. In the president's radio YouTube address yesterday, we noticed that Obama was once again wearing a purple tie. It seems that purple is the president's favorite. Because this guy has seen him many times wearing a purple tie. And a lot of times he's wearing an ultraviolet tie. And then in his presidential picture, or his painting, these flowers represent his family, and that is ultraviolet as well. It's crazy. And then, you know, Michael Obama basically has worn a ton of purple and ultraviolet clothing and stuff, just like him. Because it represents, it's also kind of like they say right here, it's a blending of the red and the blue. It's purple, because he's a blend of everybody. He's black and white, and he represents everybody and over the world. And he looks like everybody. You take the whole world and blend him into one person, that's Barack Obama. I mean, he looks like everybody. And that's the point of him relating to everybody. Okay, it's the point. And then here he is as a Jedi, and he's carrying a purple lightsaber. Are you kidding me? I hope you get this. I hope you see this. Okay, this is about the birth of the Antichrist, and ultimately it's really about the birth of the man-child to heaven, which is in Revelation 12. And eventually, as I show in my video, the Obama, different figures, is shown as 12:3, and even the apple rolling, there's 12:3, and Revelation 12 verse 3 is a revealing of the dragon. And Obama is the dragon on Earth, and Planet X is the dragon shown in the heavens. And people are going to have a heart attack and die from seeing these things in the heavens. When all the geoengineering spraying that's been going on doesn't work anymore, and all this other fake stuff that they use to conceal it, when it eventually shows up, people are going to freak. You will see. Okay, you don't have to take my word for it. You will see very, very soon. Super soon. So anyway, hopefully you got stuff out of this, and I thank God for him showing me, Jesus has shown me so much of this stuff, and other people as well, like I mentioned. So I hope you'll wake up and come to the Lord Jesus. I just pray that you would come to the Lord Jesus, because he has open arms to you. He loves you. All this sick stuff that's about to come up on the world with destruction and mass ritual sacrifice and all this stuff, it's beyond me. And I'm getting to a point where I'm just ready for it to happen. I've cried about it too much. It's been too hard to deal with at times. Now it's just been drawn out so much, and because God's crazy mercy, but it's about to end. And so I want to get you as much information as I can, so for my brothers and sisters out there, they can really have hope that this is almost over and you're going to be in heaven and it's going to be joyous. But for you that don't believe, I weep for you. I weep for you. And there will be another chance. So like I said before, there will be, when these tsunamis come, God will mercifully before that take away the innocence. And I believe, like I said, it's probably up to the age of accountability, but that's my speculation. It'll be children up to some age. I don't know for sure. Okay? And that's when the tsunamis come, because they'll kill millions of people. And then a couple days later, I believe, based on all the information I see in the evidence, I could be wrong exactly. I could be wrong about those exact details, but this is what I see so far. 2 days later, nuclear attack happens in the United States, because World War III gets escalated massively, and then we get attacked. and then that's the second rapture, which is of the faithful bride of Christ. And then at some point in the tribulation, probably 3 years into it, or who knows how, maybe towards the middle of the tribulation, I believe the tribulation is 7 years, according to many things in the Bible, as opposed to what a lot of people believe. But it could be shorter. I'm not saying I know definitively, but according to a lot of stuff and a lot of figures and a lot of things about 7 years and weeks of days and all kinds of stuff, 7 makes the most sense to me. But at some point before the midpoint, before God's wrath, at some point, whenever that is, then there'll be another rapture of people who eventually wake up to the truth of Jesus and God, and they basically start following Him, and then God will take them, rescue them before the wrath, and this final rapture. So, just so anybody knows, and we had questions about that, that's why I believe the Bible's showing. That's why I believe ultimately I've had Go-To is showing in a sick way. Another thing. So, I'm leaving it at that, and I thank you for your consideration and brace for impact. What's coming very soon is going to be beyond. And I ask you in Jesus' name to share this with as many people as possible for their sake. Please share this with as many people as possible, and my last video for sure. Even my last video, even more. This is just more evidence. My last video really lays it out more, but this adds more evidence that both of these hurricanes on either coast, and plus 923, is the attack days of July 4th and 5th. And hopefully I laid it out for you. I wish I had way more information and more evidence. There are some things I have, but they can wait because I just don't have the time and I'm still sick. So this is Exalted Lamb 1, over and out.